What's up guys, how you doing? Josh here from CaptureTheMomentum.com, also known as Momentum Productions. It's about 98 degrees outside at 9:30 p.m. in Los Angeles, California, and I'm sweating. It is extremely hot outside. But that doesn't mean that we can't do a tutorial video or informational video for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about camera stabilization. I know this is a big thing going around, and if you looked at my YouTube channel, you would notice that I use the old-fashioned glide cam or steady cam kind of stabilizers. And with all this new technology that's coming out, a lot of people are looking at the DJI Ronin, the Kane TV 8000, I believe it's called, and all these other Chinese or even the Mobi stabilizing systems. So a lot of people that have some money are deciding whether they should go with a glide cam system or with an electronic gimbal system. And we're going to be talking about that in this video today. I do not own a Ronin, but I have tested it and I have played around with it in the field. And I have to say it is an amazing camera stabilization system. Comparing the footage between the DJI Ronin-M and a glide cam, the footage is very similar. I can't really say that the Ronin gives you more stable footage because I think that with the glide cam you get slightly cleaner footage, and I'll explain why in just a second. So if you're not familiar with how these electronic gimbals work, basically we have three different motors on the X and Y axes. Now we also have what is called the gimbal controller, motor controller, or just main controller, what controls all of the motors. We have a system called the IMU, that's what we call this main controller. IMU stands for Intelligent or Internal Monitoring Unit. What this IMU computer does is it uses a gyroscope sensor and an accelerometer sensor. These sensors combined make the computer extremely intelligent, telling the motors and commanding the motors to move in a certain way to absorb shock. So these motors are brushless motors, so they run very quietly and use very little power. So that's how these electronic stabilizing systems work, especially the DJI Ronin-M. Now let's talk about some of the minuses between an old-fashioned glide cam and the new electronic gimbal stabilizers. Let's start with the electronic gimbals. The electronic gimbals are amazing quality stabilizers. However, you need a battery to power them. What happens if you're out in the field and something short circuits in your system? I hope you have a backup, because once you short out on your system, your IMU is probably going to be fried, your motors are going to be fried, and then you're going to be in trouble. That is one big minus using electronic gimbals. Second big minus, you need a battery to run it. What happens if you run out of power and you don't have a generator? You best be having multiple batteries, but you're also adding to the weight you got to be carrying on your back. Think about that. With the glide cam, you don't need any power whatsoever, and you don't have to worry about short circuiting. The worst that can happen to your glide cam is that you get a little bit of dust in your gimbal or in your bearings, and a simple screwdriver will fix the problem by opening it up and you just cleaning out the dust. So those are really big minuses with the electronic stabilization systems, is that you need power, and also electronics can fail and they have a certain lifespan. So just keep that in mind between spending $1,300 or $700. Alright, so the Ronin is about double the price of a glide cam. Regarding footage and how the Ronin stabilizes footage is really good actually. What I like about the Ronin is that you have a handle up here, so you can do really low angle shots, especially if you're doing a car chase scene or if you're on the back of a pickup and you want to track a car. It's really good. Also, the Ronin is really good at windy conditions. The motors are very powerful on the Ronin, so if you're in windy conditions, the motors will still keep the camera fairly stable. Regarding the glide cam systems, it's a little bit more difficult for that system, for the glide cam, to handle wind. So you have to remember that you always have to use both hands. One hand gently on the gimbal, guiding it, and one hand on the handle. So it's really, really important that you guys memorize these faults and understand the differences between the two systems. Regarding weight, now this is a really, really big thing. The Ronin-M needs to come with the monitor. You need to buy an external monitor. So you're packed with $1,300 with the original MSRP of the system. Then you have to buy a proprietary bracket from DJI to mount on to the Ronin in order to put on a monitor, which I believe is $75. So that's a bracket, plus you need to buy a monitor, which range from between $200 to $1,000 depending on your budget and how good the monitor is that you buy. So give or take, you're running probably close to $2,000 on the Ronin-M. Plus, you need to stack up on a whole bunch of batteries, a lot of power, and if you short circuit your system, if water gets in, then unfortunately you might just not be able to get that stabilized footage from a short-circuited Ronin. However, with the GlideCam, you don't need a monitor. You don't need any batteries. You don't need to be worried about rain, because if water gets in, big deal. All right, you got to clean it out as quick as possible so it doesn't rust. But if water gets in, no big deal. Just make sure you carry some towels or something with you to clean it off afterwards. GlideCams are more durable than anything electronic on the market, so just keep that in mind. The Ronin is electronic. What happens when water hits electronics? You're out of the water, man. You're out of the water. No, you're just out of luck. Even though the Ronin is really, really great for what it does, it's stabilizing footage. You know, you can hold it in many different positions. You can hold it in inverted, have the camera upside down, but you can do that with the GlideCam too. Let's talk about weight. All right, I mentioned weight earlier and I didn't really cover it. The Ronin is gonna weigh more than a GlideCam. With a camera, the telephoto lens, or even a heavy prime lens, plus a monitor, plus the monitor's battery, it's going to be weighing more than a GlideCam. And I feel like even though you can hold it with two hands, it's going to put some really bad strain on your back. So what they have, I believe it's a third-party manufacturer. They offer a backpack support. Basically, it's a backpack with a big metal bar with the string that comes down and hooks up to your Ronin. And it looks pretty ridiculous, but it helps out with your back. Now, I would much rather spend that money on a vest for a GlideCam. The vest systems actually support your lumbar and support your upper back, so you're actually taking off a lot of the weight off your arms. So I really like the idea of having that vest for the GlideCam systems because they really focus on your back support. While the backpack for the Ronin, not so much. It's just a backpack and it still puts pressure on your shoulders and your back. So that's another good thing to keep in mind. Now, my overall thoughts whether I want to buy the Ronin or the GlideCam. To be honest, I'm going to stick with the GlideCam old-fashioned systems, strictly because I don't want to rely on battery power. I already have a drone I have to worry about with battery. I have 2 cameras I have to worry about with battery. I have lighting kits I have to worry about with batteries. And I have a monitor I have to worry about with batteries. Guys, I'm so fed up with carrying and watching over batteries that I don't think I can own anything more that has a battery in it. So if I were you, I would really, really think about, are you a backpacker? Like, what are you going to be filming? If you're mainly going to be in nature, if you're going to be hiking a lot, I strongly recommend the GlideCam systems. That way, you know, they're lighter, they're easier on your back, they're more compact. You don't need a monitor, you don't need batteries, you don't have to worry about rain or dust getting in because you can just simply take it apart and clean it later. And they're much more durable. You don't have to worry about any electronics failing on you. Whilst the Ronin, you do have electronics and eventually electronics do fail. That's just life, that's their lifespan. And you don't know when. So I would be very, very cautious. If you're looking at the Ronin, I would suggest using the Ronin only for maybe weddings or bar and bar mitzvahs, or quinceañeras, you know, just special events. I wouldn't go out in nature with the Ronin. Also, another cool thing you can do with the Ronin is mount it on the S1000. I believe, yeah, you can mount the Ronin-M on the S1000 octocopter from DJI, and that's pretty cool. But besides that, guys, I wouldn't really recommend the Ronin. You do get amazing footage out of it. However, you have to rely on batteries and you have to rely on the electronics working properly. Whilst the GlideCam, you don't have to worry about any of that. So those are my two big things regarding stabilization systems. I'd totally recommend going in for the GlideCam and for the vest system compared to the Ronin, because I just don't want to carry any more batteries and I don't want to worry about electronics failing on me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review or this tutorial or this advice video showing you the differences between electronic gimbal systems and old school, old-fashioned stabilization coming from GlideCam and Steadicam. So those are the two big differences. I highly suggest reading the reviews on Amazon, on eBay, and just Googling the products and comparing the two, because I really do suggest going with the old school, old-fashioned systems that don't require any power. If you have any questions or comments, if you have ideas for new videos, please comment or visit my site and write it down on the blog. I would really, really appreciate that, guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care and happy filming.